So Bernadette, thanks so much for coming in to talk to us. It's been, great already with the stories we've heard from Nikki and from CalFresh around people that can see something, see an opportunity, and grab hold of it. I'm really interested in your story around, in the early 90s, you were just doing something, I guess, and you saw an opportunity. Can you tell us a little bit about what that opportunity was and what you did about it?
Is this on?
Yeah.
On.
Yeah.
Hi. I saw a gap in the market. I think I'm a passionate food person, and working with hospitals at the time, or starting to, focused on what they were doing with texture-modified fluids, and was disgusted. And I don't know, is it a bit of arrogance? I thought I could do it better, and we did.
Yeah. To tell us, because you create products for people that have dysphagia, can you just explain what it is for people who don't know?
Yeah, so dysphagia is a disordered swallow, which effectively means that you need to texture modify the fluid. Sorry, I've got that back to front. No, I haven't. But I'm awkward with microphones. Sorry, guys.
That's all right.
I'm a hand talker. I'm from Melbourne. We talk with our hands a lot.
That's fine.
So you need to slow down the rate of flow with fluids, and the way we do this is to thicken them to 3 specific viscosities. The way that was being done, it was on all sorts of starches, so they were quite gluggy in the mouth. There was no actual proper formula. When the drinks were being thickened, they were being aerated, so a patient in a hospital may receive 200 mils of fluid, but 50–60% of that was air. So they're not getting the nutrition, they're being filled up with air. It was pretty diabolical. Starches were widely used, and it's very, very gluggy. You have no mobility in the mouth. There's a whole science to what we do, and a lot of research. So I guess if you look at where we are now, when I started, I spent 6 months researching it. I had a baby growing in my tummy, a business growing somewhere else, and a 15-month-old. And it really, the key driver has been, I guess, our purpose, and that was one of the first things I did, was write the mission statement. And that's to enhance the quality of human life. So everything we do, every action we take, always goes back to our purpose. So we've grown now, and we're over 100 staff, 110 or 20 staff, and we have 2 facilities. But all of it always comes back to what are we doing, and when we don't do it and stick to our purpose is when we have that dog product line. Dysphagia and the products for that are the foundation of what we do, but as we're growing, and part of our strategic growth is what are the other add-on products there? And that's all. It's going to be around nutrition. Most of our clients are hospitals, residential aged care, and those in the community. Obviously, we do a lot of children, so from babies through to the elderly. And again, anyone with the condition dysphagia, it's a symptom of another disease process. So it's Parkinson's, multiple sclerosis, Huntington's, stroke. So it's pretty diabolical, and the people we deal with are suffering. A lot of cancers, head and neck cancer, and it gives all of us great joy to make a difference in their lives. So we focus on flavour, hence the name Flavour Creations, and keeps very strict on how things taste. Products have to be relevant, and we avoid supplements. We have very much a food-first approach. So when we've actually recently launched a new product, and this is for people on dysphagia food diets. So they eat pureed foods, and I don't know if anyone has a family member in a residential aged care and they're on pureed foods. The practice in the marketplace is pretty interesting. It's actually pretty disgusting. So a lot of the work we're doing now, and actually I was in Newcastle yesterday presenting at another forum on what we're doing in that space, how to change that whole dining experience for the residents and community patients.
So tell us, so you actually saw this opportunity, mm-hmm. and you started making these products at home, is that right?
Well, it started with powders. So
okay.
Firstly, the industry was a mess. So what one hospital did and what one residential aged care facility did was completely different in terms of their viscosities. So I had to find a product that would actually help people. So that was the research. Then I had to, and that was a xanthan gum. So anyone who's technical here would know what that hydrocolloid is. So then it was identifying which was the best xanthan gum, because the cheapest one is not necessarily always the best, as we know. So it started with the powders, and then I had to work. I think I contacted about 500 facilities across the eastern seaboard, asking them what they did and how they did it. And yeah, it's a lot of hard work. So I worked out what the best product would be. Then I had to examine what everyone was doing. And then I had to try and pull them all along and get their practices to change. So where some facilities would have 5 viscosities, and in a kitchen, you're in a hurry, that people can't do this. So had to really focus on changing their practices and the way they were seeing it. So that's working with dietitians, speech pathologists, food service. We got it down to 3 viscosities, and then a couple of dietitians said, can't we have these pre-thickened? I thought, yeah, why not? Of course we can. So I did.
That's cool.
Yeah, so we started with 3 flavours back then, and now we're on about 26 flavours over the 3 viscosities. And all of the additional products, so to grow and expand, we need to see what else can we do and where can we set ourselves up globally to help enhance people's lives in a healthy way. So we've just launched a new cup for our, I don't know if you've got a picture of the cup there, our new cup. Yeah, so this is about empowerment. The cup, when you have dysphagia, you can't do a head tilt to drink. So you've got to think of the opposite when you're rescuing someone. If they're drowning, you've got to open up the airways. With anyone with this swallowing condition, you've got to encourage them to do a chin tuck. So the way the cup is designed and shaped, they can actually empty the contents of that cup without bringing your head back. So this is a massive game changer in the market. We've got a patent on it. It's pretty excited about it. It's just starting to roll out now, so that's been about a $6 million investment in the factory. Yeah, some pretty groovy equipment. If anyone wants to come and see these machines working, it's exciting. And then part of the design also, I don't know if anyone who's been on the airline plane and you're trying to rip open the top of the plastic drink, the juice, or you're at home opening up the yogurt dip, you can't, there's not enough tab. And they're also really stuck on tight. So part of the engineering around the equipment, which added cost, is making sure that I can drop that and it's not going to split open, but when they pull on that tab, it just opens easily, and it does. But that tab is actually 30 millimetres. And that, so if you think of little kids, if you think of someone with arthritis, you think of somebody who's been a burns victim, car accidents, they don't have all their digits. They can even open the cup if you've had stroke. Hold the cup on the side of the table, put your elbow on the foil and open it. So it's all about empowering our clients, our end users. So that's the whole accessible design feature of where we're heading with what we're doing. So it's not just the contents, it's the accessibility and the whole experience for them. Because no one wants to be sitting there being fed all day, every day.
So, look, that's awesome. I mean, I think that you've invested so much money in a new product, you've got some innovation in there, you've got some intellectual property, which gives you some protection from competitors. So you've really nailed this core business which you started with, but your business has now grown and expanded outside of these core dysphagic products, hasn't it? So tell us about that journey. Why did you do that, and how did you go about doing it?
We see Flavour Creations, look, I call it world domination. I can't see why we can't, in Brisbane, be one of the major food players across the globe. So when people ask what the future is, I say world domination. Apparently you want meat around that, which is what you're asking. So again, we must be focused on our purpose. As I said, we've just switched everything over to all natural colours and flavours. Our factory is also gluten and nut-free, and we're halal and kosher. And the reason for doing that many, many years ago, I think the scientists wanted to murder me, was we have to make the products as easy and accessible as possible. So particularly the challenges hospitals are facing today, you've got a wide range of ethnicity coming through, allergens, it becomes quite complex. They're going to need 4 or 5 products on the shelf. They can't manage that. It's not economically viable. It's very, very difficult. So how can we design a product that will be a one-stop shop as much as possible? So the nuts is a big one and the gluten is a big one. And no one knows. No one would know whether it was... We make cookies. People, if you don't tell them, they don't realise they're gluten-free. So The products that we make very focused on food first. I'm ex-hospitality, I love my food, and if you saw the supplements that are currently in the market that people in a hospital are being given, it's disgusting. They're leaving hospitals malnourished. So we need to work with the institutions and bring back food first. So we have a range of products to help fortify food, but when it's presented to them, it's food, and it tastes great.
Yeah. So what I think is really interesting is that you're a small to medium-sized company. You've grown very quickly to $30 million, which is awesome. But you've obviously invested a lot of money in research and development. So tell us about how important research and development and innovation is to your business.
Well, as I said, I started, the first thing I did was research. So I'm not a food scientist, but obviously interested in it. We probably are one of the largest employers of food scientists in the country now. Certainly when it comes to true innovation. So there are food scientists, as you mentioned before, they're doing quality, they're doing QC checks, they're just maintaining products. But we actually go out and innovate. Recently we launched, 6 months ago, launched a shelf-stable ice cream. So when we talk about pureed foods in the industry with the dietitians and speech pathologists, it's called a texture C. So when this is at ambient temperature, it is that proper texture C. It's not aerated, surprise, there's an ice cream without air, and it tastes absolutely amazing. But when it's frozen, it's not like a solid hard block. So it's greenfield stuff, it's innovative, it's now one of our top 10 sellers. Hospitals are now embracing it across the board. And it's also replacing products that are there. So at the moment there's these little Dixie, I don't know, has everyone seen that? You've had those little paper cups with ice cream in it. By the time it gets to the bedside, it's melted. There's no nutritional value in it. Now, opposite to the trends, we actually have 3 kcals per gram in ours. So a little 120 gram cup, there's 360 kcals. But our client base in the hospitals are invariably malnourished. They need energy. So we're deliberately trying to fatten things up, which is not market trend. We can do other things that aren't like that.
So have you done that through, like, have you had to employ food scientists? You had to employ...
Oh, yeah, as I said, so we have one of the largest food science group in the country working on true innovation.
Yeah, which I think is a really great lesson for any food company to take home, because a lot of food companies are busy producing their product, but they're not able to invest in the future, which you guys have obviously done.
Yeah, well, I won't do Me Too products. It's pointless unless we can really innovate them and flip them around and create some dynamic change in that. And with one of our powders at Vital, it fortifies food. You can put it in a drink and have it as a regular supplement, but the features around that product, it's 1 scoop, it high protein per serve. So we've manipulated that, and it's also a true neutral taste, and there's not a product in the market with that true neutral taste. And again, you can get it into food, so you can put it with fruits and vegetables and meats. So everything that we do, again, comes back to food.
Yeah. Look, it's an awesome story. It's great that you're not only having a successful business, but you're making a really tangible difference in a lot of vulnerable people's lives, and I think that's a great story. Please join me in thanking Bernadette for her time.